Hey there, everyone! Welcome to Saturday night live stream here at Canadian Starships. First order of business. Can you see me? Can you hear me? Let me know by leaving a comment in the chat. Also, let me know that you're here by leaving a message in the chat so that I know who it is that I am talking to. And Ken says, I can see you, I can hear you. Thank you, Ken. That tells me that all the technology is working the way it's supposed to be working. And Captain Chalmang's here says, hi, Ken and Andrew. Welcome to the stream. Whew, we're making progress. We're making progress. I don't even want to look to see how close Winterfest is, but we're making progress, so that's a good thing. You can see this behind me. The top of the secondary hull is on. All of the lighting is working. It's functioning the way it is supposed to work. We're moving on to the saucer section. And I am so glad to be moving on to the saucer section. So we're here working on that tonight. I've got my tea, Earl Grey, hot. And we're going to be getting into the LED preparations for the lower saucer tonight. I'm hoping that by Friday or Saturday next week, I will have the saucer closed up. Baby? That would be a nice hope. Captain Shalmang says, also, Ken saw your last episode of Reliant. She looks great so far. Also, Andrew saw the last video you made today on the D. It is looking great. Well, thank you. I have learned that Friday night, Saturday morning, midnight, probably not the best time to drop a video, but it's picking up some steam now, which is good. So she's a bit blurry back there because of the depth of field on the camera. And my camera's a little bit shakier than it normally is tonight. I'm not quite sure why. It's generally got pretty good image stabilization on it. But look at this. I can turn off the Enterprise D. I can turn it off. And I can put it on startup. Those are the windows. Most of the windows you can't see because of the masking, the Bizards. The warp chiller grills, the dish comes on there. You can't really see it, but there's a fiber for photon on the front there. There's also fiber on the back. The impulse, you can just kind of catch a hint of the red at the impulse, the way that she's sitting right now. But yeah, she's looking good. And of course, if I hit another button here, in a moment, something else will happen. She'll go to warp, and then the Borg take over. I think that's pretty cool that you can do all that kind of stuff. So let me turn her off and turn her back on normal way now. Actually, if I move this way, I can probably focus in on it right now. There we go. Turn the lights off again. Turn them on one at a time. I'm running that on the computer screen here, and it's going over Wi-Fi to the model, which is pretty cool. So pretty happy with the way that she's turned out so far. But we're going to be moving on. Oh, I've got to get myself in focus now. There we go. Yeah, so we're moving on to saucer work. So we're going to get right at that. Ken says, thank you to Captain Shalmang. Devin Smith is here. Welcome, welcome. Rick Rogers says, finally made it. Welcome to the live stream. And we've got X-Fighter builds. The Enterprise D is looking great. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate it. I'm really happy with the way that she's turned out. I really like, let's see if I can grab a clip here. I can probably grab at least a photograph. Oh, no, I've got some actual video here. Let me pop this in. So this is the Impulse. This is the Impulse engine. And a very close-up view of the Impulse engine and how she's working. So there it is. There it's lighting up. Really not even a hint of any hot spots. And I really love that crystal look when it's powered down. And the material that's in there, it makes it look like it's a crystal-y material. I really like that. And of course, that photo etch is was done by Hagen Miller. He provided that, which I'm very grateful for. Looks really good. Yeah, so we're making progress on it. All right, so we're going to be moving to some LED preparation. So I have to get some LEDs hooked up and prepared for installation into the saucer section. So we're working on the lower saucer section. Let me grab that, just show you. I don't know if I'll be able to get it all on camera. Let's see. Here we are. One lower saucer section. Hello, Ken. How are you?
Good evening, Andrew. I'm doing well, thank you.
So here's my lower saucer. I started getting some preparation work done on this today. Started recording my next episode and got right to work today after releasing the one yesterday. I filled in all the dormer windows. I was going to go with my solar res glass technique for that, especially for the bigger windows. Well, these aren't windows. This is the navigational deflector for the saucer, but there's some bigger ones here. But I ended up just filling them in with solar res. And for the larger ones, I've got some diffusion material just on the back, just so that you can't see the sparkly lights inside. Same with the navigational deflector on the front. And I was going to create a light box for the navigational deflector up front, but what I'm thinking I'm going to do, let me see if I can just quickly grab, I must have some around here somewhere. Yeah, I've got some here. So the high density, LEDs that I'm using in the ship, the addressable ones, the spacing on them is pretty much exactly spaced out to these 4 openings. So one per opening if I do 4. So what I'm tempted to do is just make a strip of 4 and lay them flush down. There's a bit of a gap between the diffuser and the solar res inside. That's going to help diffuse it. But because there's one LED per opening, I'm not really worried about the hot spots because it's just one per window and it's supposed to be navigational deflector anyway. So that's what I'm thinking I'm going to do for those.
That works out well.
And then so I'll mount it flush and then epoxy in place and light block that all over. So rather than building a light box for that, because I'm going to have a massive light box I need to create for this item here, for the phaser strip. So, but I've got LEDs ready to wire up for the phaser strips. I will wire up the navigational deflector. And the nice thing about keeping that light blocked from the rest of the ship is that if the client wants to be the blue navigational deflector, it can be. If they want them to be white windows, they can be. If they want them to be purple for some reason, they can be, or red. Who knows, right? Maybe Khan takes over the Enterprise D and they become red windows. Who knows? But yeah, so we're going to do that. Let me grab the armature for it.
While you're doing that, X-Fighter Builds, he says, that looks awesome. What was that shimmering material called?
It's called the inside to a light toy my daughter got at the circus that stopped working and I pulled apart. I pulled it apart and I salvaged that material thinking I might be able to use it for a build one day. So unfortunately, I could not tell you. I'm going to need to move my Omniman jiggy out of the way. So I can move this a little bit further up and have it all in frame.
There you go.
I'm going to run out of space for live streaming this build. Just because it's so big. So this is what we're working on. And I've got to figure out as well tonight how I am putting window lights in. So the armature has dictated how the phaser strips are going in, and they're going on the inside of the curve because there's not quite enough space on the outside of the curve. There's just enough space on the inside of the curve to fit the LED strip on its side. So, and that's going to be fun to cover up because, yeah, I might have to, I don't know, I might have to make the metal part of the light box for that. It's going to be interesting. Because I can't go too high.
No, you can't.
There's not a ton of clearance. There's just enough clearance for the LED strip to go in there. But I'm thinking I'm going to maybe just run. Okay, let me backtrack here. So what I need is lighting for the center for all those dormer windows, and then lighting for the outer windows, I think is going to be taken care of fairly well by the lighting for the upper saucer part coming down. So I might just put a few LEDs under these, and these. I won't need too many of them. Just enough to kind of fill that bowl underneath with some lighting. And then I might mount all of the rest of my saucer lighting, window lighting, on top of the metal frame. And that'll shine up to the top windows and also be refracted down for these windows as well. So that I think that's going to be my approach on it.
Okay, that should do it.
Yeah. And this one's already been marked out as far as where precisely it needs to sit in here. Essentially, how this is going to get installed is it'll be really well JB quick welded down to the flat portion of the saucer here, and that's going to grab everything. I don't think I'm going to need to use the physical mounting points, but they are available. If I get this epoxy down and I don't think it's going to be strong enough, then I'll drill these holes and I'll put physical fasteners in.
Right, you just epoxy those fasteners to the hole.
Well, I would drill through the hole and then putty in after. But if I can avoid doing that, I will. There's so much surface area, and the JB Quick Weld is so good. I don't think that there's going to be any sort of issue with it. So what I could do, though, is just partly drill down where these holes are, just so that the quick weld gets a little bit deeper and a bit more of a grab in there. I'm not quite sure yet. But that's where we're at. So the lighting is going to be worked on tonight.
Captain Charlemagne, it says that big saucer, saucer, and it's only $650. Could you imagine to see it if it was $350?
Yeah, only $650. One moment, please.
Trent's here tonight. Trent says, "Hi guys."
Hello, Trent.
X-Fighters comments on your use of that part from your child's toy. Yeah, that's huge. That's a huge difference.
So there's the 1400 saucer for comparison.
Yeah.
And you can see windows all opened up in this part. This part's being prepared for the next project, because I have one of these to build for a client. But yeah,
nice.
Considerably different size.
Oh, for sure. Anyway, yeah, X-Fighters was thought that was very resourceful using that part of the children's toy.
Yeah, I've had it. I just had it in a parts bin for probably 4 years, just waiting for the right thing to use it for.
It worked out well. Devin Smith says, just wait until you do the 350 Excelsior class. It would be too long to fit anywhere. Just one moment, please. And Captain Charlemagne says, Window Nightmare.
So 650 Enterprise D and a 350 Enterprise B.
Very close in size.
Yeah.
Wherever the Excelsior does have very long warp nacelles.
It does, and a very long secondary hull too.
Yes.
So this model is about 3 feet long. The Enterprise B is about 4 feet long. So there is a fairly significant size difference between those two models. And then I'm hoping that once these Enterprise Ds are off the bench and paid for, that I might be able to pick up the either the studio scale or the 650 scale Enterprise C.
Yeah, Rick says, wow. Yeah, it is incredible just to see that size difference.
Yeah. And I'm looking forward to getting it fully lighted, seeing how that fully lights. I want to try, I mentioned this a couple times, I want to try possibly light boxing the different cabins inside the Enterprise B because the window number is a little bit more manageable. I mean, obviously I'll have to see whether the armature gets in the way or whatever, but it'd be nice to light box those individual like crew cabins and have those individually lighted so that you can set up a program where a set of crew quarter lights comes on, another one turns off or dims. And so there's a little bit of dynamic life to the model when it's just sitting there rather than the window lights always being the same, right? So just a thought that I'm considering on that.
X-Fighter Build says, wow, I'd love to get that 1350 Excelsior or Enterprise B. That is awesome.
It's a really nice looking kit. And it has the metal armature that it comes with, so which is nice.
Captain Charlemagne says, light boxing, what is that?
You get 2 photons in the ring and they go at it, right? No, just creating a box so that the light inside the box only goes through the openings you want it to, and it's not and it's light blocked from the rest of the model. So each, like if this was a cabin, then you could just create a little box over top of it, put your light inside, and then that cabin's light would go up and like fade up and down or turn on and off independently of all of the other cabin lights. So it's just an idea. Rick says the light box would definitely give it a more realistic view. Yeah, just an idea I'm toying with. We'll have to see when I get to the project. We'll have to see just what I want to do with that, and I don't know if that's something Ken would want to tackle, trying to do the individual room lighting or not. But I might try it.
It might be worth, even for me, with less experience on that sort of thing, even if you just do a few rooms.
Yeah. Do you know what you're wanting to do for a lighting system on that?
No, I have no idea yet. I'll probably talk to you more when the time comes.
I'm probably going to stick with the inner lighting on it.
Okay.
I don't think it needs as many, like it doesn't have a phaser effect the same, right? Because it doesn't have phaser strips. But there's some other things you could possibly do with the phasers. We'll see. But I just like the ease of setting it up and programming it and being able to dynamically change it as time goes.
Right.
rather than just being stuck with whatever the lighting effects happen to be. So, all right, I'm going to put this aside and I'm going to get some LEDs out. I'm going to get my solder station going and we're going to get working on some LEDs.
Captain Charlemagne says Enterprise C from Helios would be a great build to see. The Helios kit, from what I saw, is a beautiful kit.
Looks like it. All right, so I've got a phaser strip here, pre-measured out, and I originally measured it out for for putting it on the outer ring, but the clearance won't allow me to put it on the outside of the phaser ring, so I need it to curve on the inside of the phaser ring. So I just need to shorten it up a little bit. I'm losing 6 LEDs doing that. I'll hold on to this for some window lighting or something. And I'm going to keep, so this is fresh off the spool, so I'm going to keep the wiring. Oh, good evening, Todd. Welcome. I'm going to keep the wiring that's already soldered to this. I'm going to get rid of these extra wires, and I'm going to get rid of the shrink tube here so that I can get rid of those. I'm going to cut this connector off because it's all going to be hardwired in.
Yes, good evening, Todd.
Goodbye, connector. So what's everybody up to tonight? What are you guys working on? Because I'm sure you're not just sitting there with a bowl of popcorn watching me solder LEDs. So what are you guys working on tonight?
Well, I finally got my new my next video for the buddy build done, so that Reliant video will be up tomorrow morning.
Very cool. Admittedly, I have to get caught up on all that stuff.
And I did a little bit more Raytheon, this time on the warp nacelles. And
so is that a smaller section?
Yes, the warp nacelles is just the very tail end of the warp nacelles. And then I worked on the roll bar area with getting the replacement resin photon launchers put in place.
All right, I need to know. I need to do a very tedious job here. I need to know how many LEDs are on this strip. And where did I toss my notepad? Here it is. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Actually, let me grab some tape. Where's my roll of tape?
It's over there.
Over there. Yeah, it was over there on my shelf. Got it.
Perfect.
I hate counting LEDs on the super high density strips. It's way too easy to lose your spot. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10.
Todd says, if there are 4 per inch, wouldn't that make this quicker?
Are there 4 per inch?
Are they perfectly 4 per inch or
no? No. So they're a little bit longer than 4 per inch.
Okay. Devin Smith says the 1350 Katinga class assembly and lighting of the Cobra head. Also obsessing over mixing up colors for it. It will have a bridge at the top and conference room in the neck. Cool. I'm assuming you're using the aftermarket, I believe it's green strawberry bridge kit, or are you doing it by scratch building?
And we'll wait for a response.
Yes. Yeah, I have several of those Katinga kits, and yeah, I said green strawberry. Yes, yeah, I would. I was thinking about it, but I'm like, is it worth it? Because do you display with that open, or do you? Because I mean, once I put my models up, that's pretty much it. They just sit there. but it does look like an awesome set that they have. Captain Charlemagne is saying he's messing with a 1350 Strasbourg, getting ready to make a video for her, and also looking at what I need to remove from my large resin Enterprise B from Marshall Models.
So that'll be a fiberglass resin kit.
Nice.
So that's a bit of work to clean up those edges with the rough fiber, the fiberglass. I went through that with the Don Shoko D.
Okay, Devin. Devin said, I made the bulb magnetically detachable. Takes some carving to get everything to fit nicely. Smart. I've done that with some years ago with some Warhammer 40K vehicles and stuff. So all the weapons were interchangeable. And that sounds, that sounds like something I would need to get back to do that. But good thinking.
Okay, 100 right here. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, 27. 127 LEDs.
And you made the bilingual requirement for the episode.
Yes. It's a Canadian Starship stream, donc c'est doit être en les deux langues officielles of Canada so that it is appropriately recognized by the CRA comme une source canadienne
Oui.
de médias, so that it is properly distributed amongst toutes les personnes qui vivent en Canada. I hate, because I took French immersion in school, because, well, so close to Quebec, it's and so close to Ottawa, it's pretty much important to do that. I hate when I'm listening to politicians on the news and they do the French and the translators come in and you can't, and because they like lower the original volume of the person talking for the translation, you can't actually hear what they're actually saying in French.
No. Captain Charlemagne's asking me, I says, so Ken, you got any idea what you want to do after you eventually finish the USS Reliant? Yeah, I have several things in the works right now. If you come over to the HTM Discord, you can feel free to join us there, and you can see what some of the things we're talking about. We're going to be doing a group build of the Grissom, the 1350 Grissom.
This is Enterprise calling. Come in, please.
And what else? I know later in the year we want to work on a 1350 refit. And I also normally come from an armor and more of a traditional modeling system. So one of the builds I've got, I'm going to be starting here right away, is a 132nd A10 from Trumpeter.
Trumpets.
Steve Martin's here, and he says he's working on his 1350 TOS Enterprise tonight.
Very nice. How far along are you on the project? Be curious.
I have a lighting, both the new and the older lighting kit for that model. The one thing I really wouldn't mind doing is getting really the quieter aftermarket on that of the motors. Yeah, you know what I'm talking. You've probably seen that video with Boyd.
I've seen some videos with Boyd, like lots of videos with Boyd. I'm not quite sure exactly which one you're referring to.
Yeah, one of his builds of the TOS Enterprise, the 350 there, he replaced the motors of the original lighting kit with better ones where it's got the metal gears and stuff in it.
Yeah.
So it's much more quiet. And then I think he put some sort of blocking material right behind it so that the entire warp nacelle doesn't act like a big speaker.
Yeah. Well, Lou just finished recently the Strange New Worlds Enterprise, and boy, does it ever make a racket with the motors inside.
That's what I found too. Like every video I've seen it being used.
So the new solder station, and I've got a variety. It came with a variety of tips, and I love the really pointy one for this kind of stuff because I can get the solder right in there.
Steve Martin says he's about a third of the way done. Maybe he's got custom motors done and lighting done. Well, that sounds great.
Yeah, I hear that the TOS 350's nowhere near the refit is.
Yes, and it seems that way too when you watch the different builds by different people too. You can certainly see the little aggravation between the two types of builds.
I mean, I've got both here in the shop. I've got 2 refits and 1 TOS sitting on the shelf, sitting as part of the edge of my set over on this side. I've got a big stack of the 350 models, and so I've got 2 of the refits, 2 of the Annex 01, and 1 of the TOS. And I might get to building them at some point in my life.
Sooner, if somebody asks you to build them and decides to pay you to build one.
Well, the issue is how many builds of those models are on YouTube already.
Very true. That is a downside. That it would make less attractable for viewing.
So so the one side of it is it's a very popular build, right? And so you might get views for that reason. The downside is it's a very popular build, and there's already a ton of builds online. So
I know when I do mine, I will do a video on it. But you're right, there are a lot of videos for it. So you're kind of hard pressed to do anything new, so to speak.
Yeah. All right. I'm going to hook up the other Raspberry Pi.
Okay. Steve Martin says, "Why I'm glad I got my refit done a year or so ago." That's good. I got to get the paints for that, for the refit eventually. And then Devin Smith says the 350 Katinga will be my first 350 scale. Then I'll do the Grissom and the Bird of Prey straight after that. Oh, right on.
Ken does not recommend people build the Grissom.
Never.
Have you built one of those kits yet, though?
Me? No. I've given a number of them away.
Yeah. So I've heard.
I've got a few of them. X-Fighter Builds, he says, I'm working on 2 refits myself. They're a lot of fun and a lot of work. It's satisfying when it starts coming together, though. 1 350 scale, that is. I kind of look forward to doing that one. The thing that kind of gets me is doing all the interior stuff. I kind of look forward to, like the shuttle bay and the.
I've heard that the shuttle bay doesn't actually fit properly, and there's a ton of work you have to do to get it fit in there.
Right. And then the Arboretum, aftermarket stuff would be the. I'm trying to think, the Rec Room. I think doesn't come with the kit.
Yeah, you can get either resin Rec Rooms, or you can get
photo etch ones. Yeah.
It's interesting. There's no way that set actually would fit in the ship.
No, it would not.
So they've got a bit of Doctor Who technology going on in there to make that work. AKA bigger on the inside.
Yes. Captain Charlemagne says, not really a fan of the Grissom, just a strange looking little ship. I'm looking forward to it because it looks like it's so much easier to build, especially for the HTM guys coming off of the perfect grade Millennium Falcon build that they've been on for just over a year now. Whereas this kit is like, I think 72 pieces maybe.
Well, the thing with the group build there is you're only building for the few hours you're on stream once a week.
That is very true.
So it's bound to take a while. I mean, just normal kits take me a while. Part of that is just the fact that I've got young kids and it's hard to get in the shop to get work done.
Devin Smith says, I've been hunting down a rec room that isn't photo etch and came up blank. I'm trying to think who does a resin one.
So you used to be able to get it on, what was it called? The 3D printing service.
The one that went out of business?
Shapeways?
Yes.
So Spaceways on Shapeways used to have one. But they're working on getting it back. But currently there is no Shapeways for like marketplace, like what they used to have, which is a shame. I got the Bridge conference room combo not too long before it went out of business. And it's not Spaceways on Shapeways that went out of business. It was Shapeways itself.
Steve Martin says, worst thing with refit hangar bay. A lot if you work and details. Fun to do, but much of that you can't see once it's installed. Yeah, it has that big drop off in there.
So I'm going to be making a quick Wi-Fi swapperooey here. Huh. Yeah, I don't know that I can run two of these things at the same time, because I think they've got the same Wi-Fi name. I'm going to have to shut down the one behind me running the Enterprise D. There, it just turned off. I'm just going to have to shut down the Raspberry Pi that's driving that so that I can connect properly to the one on the desk here to test run these LEDs.
X-Fighter Build says, yeah, I bought a bunch of Shapeway aftermarket parts before they went under. Their parts are very nice. Yeah, I got the parts for the runabout, but now Green Strawberry also makes them. Captain Charlemagne says, perfect grade. Is the Falcon a Bandai kit? Yes, it is. It's a 72nd scale. Devin Smith says, you can change the Wi-Fi names and passwords to be unique.
Yeah, I don't want to do that right now while I'm working on them. I need a data. I need a resistor for the data channel. And I'm using 330 ohm resistors for the data channel so that you don't get garbage on the line. Keeps the data signal clean. I'm just putting that in my breadboard here.
I remember going to an electronics store and asking for a breadboard, and they looked at me like I was growing a second head. They had no idea. Yeah,
they had no. An electronics store had no idea what a breadboard was.
Yeah, that was in a small town, so
very strange. We have a like an electronics store that sells LEDs and all kinds of stuff. But they're not cheap. Which, I mean, if buying local is nice, but the people who own it are weird. All right, so I've got this strip in here. I'm going to see if I can log in to the Raspberry Pi.
Now, it's been a while since I've seen the builds, but if I recall, didn't it have originally a whole bunch of tiny holes for single LEDs for the phaser?
It did. Here, let me grab a picture before I move to moving over to the screen capture for the interface for the Raspberry Pi. Grab some, yeah. Oops. Just moving things around to the right screens here. And ta-da, that's what it used to look like.
Right, yep, I remember that.
Because they were expecting you to put individual 5mm in and connect them all up.
See, and there's a couple of holes missing by the looks of it.
There was one hole missing on it. The problem with it is that putting the LEDs flat up like that, you see the individual LEDs on the phaser fire effect. And one of the things with Lou's build is that Lou used an LED strip, but he accordioned it with the LEDs facing flat up. And again, I think if he brings that to Wonderfest, I'm curious to see the phaser fire effect, because I think you'll see the individual LEDs on it. Of course, I'm doing my side, so LED strip on its side technique that I've been using on the last few builds. And I think it just looks a lot smoother because it's not being directly lit. So you're getting all the light you want, but it's not being directly lit, like head on. So you don't see the individual LEDs when it's firing, so it runs so much smoother.
Oh, Dash is here.
Hello, Dash. How's it going?
He just gave you a nice donation.
Oh, I'll have to pull StreamYard back. Oh, my. Oh, my. Thank you, Dash. Hurry up and change your Tesla. Charge your Tesla. The Borg are coming. Flee. I'll hold them off with the flying Canadian Cobras. Well, thank you, Dash. That's very much appreciated. Completely unnecessary, but very much appreciated. Thank you. That'll pay for a set of decals. Because I'm going with I'm going to be ordering the really, really nice decals from Keith at Cosmic Scale Models. And they're very, very nice from what everybody has told me. So, and Keith's going to make up some custom ones for the custom name and registry. And I thought of a work right here. Let me just talk to the camera for a moment. For the decals, I have to contact Keith because I need to know how much of the rework of the artwork I need to do versus what he's able to do on his end. But I had an idea for the escape pods, and I'm hoping he's going to be able to accommodate me. I think I'm going to get him to print up the escape pod decals with no ship name and no hatch number on them. Because then I can print, because those are done in black. So I can just print the black name and a whole series of the numbers. And so I can apply his hatch decal And then on top of that, I can apply the name and the hatch number. And I think that's going to be an elegant solution because I don't want the repeating hatch numbers, if at all possible. I want to have all unique hatch numbers. And I want, as tough as it's going to be to see in print, I do want the custom name, like US Enterprise or USS Userville. That is going to be the other ship name. So if he's able to accommodate me on that, I think that's going to be the way that I want to do it. So let's see. If Dash says, is the registry the correct font like Lou was talking about when he was with Phil? I'm not sure. Lou did the artwork, so I'm assuming it's correct. I would have to go back and look at Lou's videos to see if it's correct or not. But I would imagine the only thing I would just be paying attention to is the D. Does the D have, or does it not have serifs? Because that's the thing. And that's what's important. So I would be looking at that. But yeah, I think it's going to be the best way for me to go is to get Keith's decal sets that he prints up using the 5-color UV printer, which is a great technology for the LEDs, for the decals. And the nice thing is he's doing white printing, right? So that's the way to go on it. And to have, especially like your reds and your yellows, to have all of those white backed, because they get consumed by the paint underneath them if they're not white backed. So that's kind of key. That's one of the reasons why the kit, not really kit provided, but the LEDs. I keep saying LEDs, but the decals from Helios aren't really usable. They're not white backed, right? They did send me markings only, so that the markings were separate from from their Aztecs. But still, it's inkjet printed. They're not white backed, so I'm going to be going with the higher quality ones from Keith. So that's my plan. So I have here on screen, and can you guys actually see that?
Yes.
Okay. Sometimes doing the screen capture, and actually I'm just going to throw my face up here in the corner. Sometimes doing the screen capture doesn't allow you to see the text very well.
Just before you proceed here, Todd says it does have with the D and with the letter D. And he said, when I worked on the fan home dry transfers, we had to basically recreate our own font.
Yeah.
We had to white back ours as well.
Yeah. Dash is asking, are those laser or inkjet printed? We are talking about this a bit ago with Ken. Ken's are neither. They are a 5-color UV print, which is a newer print system, and it's really, really cool.
Actually, I think Dash means he was talking to me about printing decals.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because there are now printer cartridges you can get that have white in them.
Yeah, you can get the Ghost ink. The Ghost, I think it's called Ghost.
And there's another one now too.
And but again, the trickiest part there is alignment. Because you have to run it through multiple times, and so if you're using a standard type of printer, you just have to pray every time you feed it through that it's going to be fed through to the micron exactly the same way, which most consumer printers won't do. They're just not calibrated to that precision, right? So that's the trick. Because I've thought about doing that. I've thought about getting the white cartridges and doing that myself, but that's the trick, getting the alignment right.
Yeah, and Dash says Ghost ink is like $300 so far for that cartridge.
Yeah. All right. So
at least they make more than one cartridge now.
So I'm going to set up my number. I have no number lock key on here, so I have to go to the laptop keyboard to do that.
127 was it?
127 LEDs. I'm going to save that. We're going to create a lighting group. This is going to be, did I add it? Yeah, new group down here. We're going to call this lower phaser. Includes the following, and right now it's going to be 1 to 127. Save changes. We're going to, I might not have an effect on here because this is the other. I'm going to have to create an effect. I don't have a pre-programmed one.
No, okay.
You know what? I'm going to shut this one down. Shut down. So I got to wait for 30 seconds for it to shut down before I unplug it. I'm going to grab the other one that has the preloaded effects, and because I've got the phaser effect already preloaded onto the other Raspberry Pi, which is currently running the ship.
Howard, which is Dash,
Yeah.
is asking, are you going to be having a section like in the 10 Forward to be able to make a rave party?
Unfortunately, 10 Forward is not going to be lightable on the kit. There's no way to actually light it because it's just resin there. So unfortunately, we're not going to be able to light any of those rim windows on this kit. All right, I can shut this down. And I took the little oh, you're not seeing what I'm seeing. Just let me it's a service I provide, having the wrong screen up. There we go. So there's this little key thing here so that you know which pin you're plugging into. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And sometimes when I pull my jumper wires out, it pulls that out. And it's there to remind me which pin it is I'm supposed to connect to. So let me grab the other Raspberry Pi.
Although, Howard, for something like the 10 Forward area on a kit like this, you probably could if you did something like the RCS thrusters on the Reliant I'm doing, where you have a clear resin piece that would fit in just to slot in just for the windows of 10 Forward, and then you would just mask the windows off and paint. You'd have to match it up and sand it in and everything else like that to make it made up. But I think you could do it that way if you had this kit and you were so inclined.
Yeah, the amount of work you would have to put in to get that lightable is insane.
Oh, it would be for sure.
All right, so I need power. Where am I going to get power? Maybe the power that I've already got here is long enough. No, it's not long enough. My problem is doing this in an area where I'm not usually doing that. Give me one moment. Please stand by.
Andrew, you need to get a little bit of music on your in your media assets, or some sort of little please stand by music.
Yeah, I'm very very cautious about using any sort of music on a live stream due to the litigious nature of studios and their copyright.
Yeah, I like having the music, the YouTube provided music that where you don't have to actually give any credit to anyone. That's generally what I use. That, and probably because I'm pretty new to YouTube.
I know a lot of streamers use music. All right, so this is connected. And I've got, so I'm running separate power direct from a 5-volt USB wall plug, because I don't want to run all of these LEDs off of the power provided by the Raspberry Pi. So I'm going to log in. Give me one moment. I'm going to log into the Wi-Fi for the Raspberry Pi. Okay.
Yeah, if someone had the money, they could go into their own little decal printing business if they had the money to buy one of those expensive resin printing machines, resin decal printing machines.
Those UV printers are good for all kinds of things.
Sorry, yes, UV. Thank you, not resin. You can also get like I think they also do them where they're not the UV printed ones, bigger, like $40,000 machines.
Yes, it was. Yes, it was. Yes, it was. Jono's a rework of the Work All Day for the Please Hold music. Yes. Funny thing. So Jono, who did all that music for Grian and all the other hermits, he is Ren Diggity Dog's brother. And Ren is actually the first Minecraft YouTuber I've ever watched when he was first starting out in his survival world. And I've been following him so long, I know what his real name is. All right, we're logged into Inner Light. So let's let me get into it here. Okay. I wasn't expecting anybody in this realm of YouTube to recognize that in such a short little whistling clip too. All right, so we're back to the Inner Light screen, and we have in here, let's see, we should have fire phasers. Yeah. So we have an effect for phaser firing already in there, and I did make adjustments to it to make it closer to what I want it to be. So we're going to create a new LED group in here. And actually, we might just... I'm going to create a new one. So LED groups are basically where you set aside a clump of LEDs, and it can be like 1, 3, 12 to 18, 32 to 156. Like it can be all those different ranges. And so we're going to do the 1 to 127. And we're going to call that test phaser. Lower. I also just need to go back to my main and make sure we've got 120. Yep, 100. We're fine. I just need to make sure that we have enough LEDs set for it to work. We're going to go to scenes. We're going to create, we're going to go into one of the phaser. Let's just do starboard phaser. And we're going to use the test phaser lower, fire phasers. We're going to save this. And we're going to go back to the desk view here. I'm going to try to at least make the LED strip viewable to you.
Steve Martin says, that was a deep dive, Andrew.
All right.
Oh, there we go.
And of course, we can tweak the effect later if we want.
Yeah, because it looks pretty slow right now.
Yep, we can speed it up. We can slow it down. Let me go into. Let me just take a quick. Queek. That's a combination of the word quick and peek. Queek. A quick peek into the user interface and the effects. And we're going to go with fire phasers and chase speed. So we can change the speed. And I can't remember which way it goes. If I lower it, is it faster? I don't remember. We'll just have to kind of play with it. Let's go back to scenes. We'll go all off. And let's go back to port phasers. Oh, maybe it's starboard phasers. Starboard phasers. Does that seem? Oh, you can't see it.
There we go.
Let's see. Does that seem a little bit faster?
It does.
So we'll have to play with it. Because of course the speed, you have to set the speed depending on how many LEDs you're running, right? So let's go back to LED. Oh, let's go back to the screen so you can see. We'll go back to LED effects. We'll go back to fire phasers. And we will 0.05. We'll save that. We'll go back to scenes. We'll turn it off. And I don't know if that's any. Oh, you can't.
Again, you have to show us.
I have to show you. I don't know that this is any faster.
Yeah, I can't really tell.
Okay. You've seen me do it a couple times. I'm just going to go in and try it. I'm just going to try changing the speed again.
Devin Smith says, somehow you know more about Hermitcraft than I do.
Yeah, I've been watching Hermitcraft since the it might have been season 4 where they were on the Mesa. That's when like Ren and Cub and a few others joined. So I've been watching since then. I used to make Minecraft content myself. Okay, let's turn. Oh, it's not turning off. Let's turn it off. Let's try firing it again. Fire phasers. Oh, that's going faster.
Yeah, that's definitely faster.
So that's how we have to do it. So that's working. Okay, so that's one piece of LEDs prepared. Of course, this will do its overnight burn-in as it needs to. And of course, it's red right now. I can tweak the coloring any way I want it to be. So it doesn't have to be red. It can be more of an orangey color. It could be blue if we want it to. If it's an Andorian equipped Enterprise D, who knows, right? So that's the nice thing about the addressables is you can make it whatever you want it to be. So that's good. That's one thing that we know is working. All right. Let that sit there and run for a little bit.
Devin Smith said, I had to ask his fiance, who is equally obsessed. So I didn't know if that was you or her watching a video.
Oh, when I whistled the hold music.
It sounds like you started watching around the same time you did.
Yeah, that's when I started too. Mumbo had the underground industrial district. Yeah. Blue or yellow for Borg invasion? Yeah, definitely. Again, the clients are going to have full access to this. And so they're going to be able to modify and tweak the effects as much as they want to. So I'm building it. I'm going to pre-set up effects. I'm sure Andy from Inner Lighting will help tweak some of the effects and stuff like that, and maybe add some special stuff for the show. But like the clients are going to be able to log into this and play around with stuff as they want to, which is really cool. It's you're not stuck with the static effect. As you are with so many different lighting solutions. So, all right. So that is phaser strip wired up. We need to wire up. Now, this is not going to be anything flashy, but we do need to wire up some LEDs for the saucer navigational deflector, and that's just going to be a set of 4. And one of the issues with these LEDs, let's bring this up to the closer to the camera. If I cut halfway, like through the middle of these sections, the area for you to solder to is so incredibly small. So what I end up doing is I sacrifice one. I mean, there's so many. I end up sacrificing one because I cut it right close to the LED, so that I give the one I'm working on as much of a pad to solder to as possible. So let me just see if I've got a shorter section, because I want to use the shortest section possible. Those are all longer. I thought I had some more around here. Please stand by while I look for random loose LED strips.
You don't have a little basket for them?
Well, I've got some in a basket here, but I thought I had... excuse me. I thought I had more. But you know what? I'm going to find them after I don't need them. That's when I'm going to find them. Which is fine. It's fine. Everything's fine. Nothing's a problem. We're all good.
Well, you got the little section there by your soldering iron.
Oh, yeah.
That one.
That's actually longer by one LED. So yeah, Devin, when I got into YouTube initially, it was first doing Minecraft content. I was even on multiplayer SMPs just for content creators, which was pretty fun. But the problem is, not everybody's quite as committed to it as others might be. So it makes it tough when not everybody in the group is committed to it. All right.
Are you going to watch the Minecraft movie when it's out?
I probably will. My daughter's big into Minecraft now, and she's 8. But I don't know if we'll go see it together because she also has autism, and anything that's scary or awkward in a movie can be really difficult for her.
Right.
So we'll have to see. Like I'd probably have to watch it first, so that I'm prepared for everything that's going on, and then kind of like walk her through it as we watch it. We definitely won't watch it in theaters together.
Right.
If we watch it, it'll be streaming after the fact, so she can like chunk it out, and so she can watch part of it and then go away when things get awkward, and then she can watch more. That's kind of how we do it. That's how she tends to watch all of the movies until she's gotten through the whole thing, and then she'll watch it like a million times. So she is big on Mary Poppins right now, the original Mary Poppins movie.
Nice.
So I'm surprised it was Work All Day, the whole music that I was whistling, because either Spoonful of Sugar or Tuppence a Bag, like Feed the Birds. Like those two songs are constantly in my head right now because she's constantly watching Mary Poppins. All right, we'll get this wired up. I'm just scraping away the top surface of the pads, giving the solder a little bit of a better surface to grip to. So all 3 on the input end and just the data on the output end. Because the data has to be run in series, but the power is not. So all right. First step is find my. Here's my solder. Found it. First stop.
Take 2.
First part is taken care of. I found the solder. All right. So first step is just to get the pads pre-soldered, and that's the trickiest part with these LED strips.
Everybody hold your breath.
Made immeasurably easier by my new solder wand.
The Makita soldering station?
Yeah, the Makita. It can be, these things can be finicky. There we go. I'm especially for these things, these high density LED strips, I'm really picky about how the solder goes onto the pads because it has to hold. On some of the other LED strips, I'll actually drill a hole through and run the wire through to create a physical connection. That's really difficult on these ones just because there's not a lot of space on the pad as it is. So I'm really particular about the way the solder goes on these things.
Well, that's a good tip for regular LEDs for those of us who don't use them very often. Thank you.
All right, I started putting solder on the pad for the power out, but forgetting that I don't need that on this end. All right, let me grab my wire. So I'm using the 30 gauge into each of the individual strips of LEDs, but I've got, I don't know, 24 or 26 gauge going into the ship, and then as the main going through the ship. So lighter grade for the individual LEDs, but higher grade, bigger wire as the main going in. Okay, we want the ground to go first. It's in the end. Pre-tin the wire so it solders better to the pad. This is the work I was really struggling with my old soldering wand, because it just wasn't getting heat to the tip, which makes it really awkward to do this fine soldering work.
Well, like you said, though, that last soldering station lasted you a long time.
It did. It did. So we're hooking up the data next. Did I say that, fingers crossed, I might be closing up the saucer by the end of, like, by Friday or Saturday next week?
Oh, that'll be nice.
That's my stretch goal. Get construction done by the end of this coming week. Then there's all the refinement work and seam work and stuff, and then painting. But I'm doing my best to try to get caught up, because the armature was a huge time sink on this project.
Yes, that did slow you down quite a bit. Captain Charlemagne says, I had to go pick up sister. What did I miss? Let's see. You missed, I don't know if you saw, Howard came in, and also known as Dash. He donated $100, which was really nice.
Crazy.
Then Andrew did his work and got the programming done for the new phasers. You can see them pulsing right there. And now he's doing the lights for the navigational deflector on the saucer.
And trying to find the end of this wire. I can never find the end of the red wire because it, like, perfectly nestles in. It's never a problem with any other. Like, the others are always, like, super loose and.
Well, you know what you need to do? You need to take your sonic saber and cut a little slit into the side of the plastic case that you can always anchor the wire into.
There's holes, and if I remember to, I try to put it into the holes. Oh, this is ridiculous.
Captain Charlemagne says, sounds like the wire play the magician's sock trick with you, Andrew.
The magician's sock trick? I don't know what that is.
Okay, good, because I don't either.
Please hold. Got it. Oh, I had it. Oh, there it is. Found it. All right. And before it gets lost for the rest of eternity,
put it through the hole.
Put it through the hole. I'm going to need it again tonight.
Oh, Captain Charlemagne. I think I remember that as being a like a handkerchief where you keep pulling the sock, but it never ends.
Yeah, I know it has.
You got more socks coming out. Yeah.
but now I understand what you mean.
Yeah, no, I'm looking at my view here of you, Andrew, and I can see the top of your head, and I have to apologize for anybody who watches my video coming out tomorrow. You see a lot of the top of my head in that one.
Well, sometimes your head just gets in the way.
Yep.
All right. Now we're going to put the data out cable on, wire on. I waste a ton of wiring once everything gets connected because you need to make sure you've got enough to do whatever you need to run wherever you need to run with it, but you always end up chopping a ton of it off once you're finally connecting everything together. Here we go.
No, tonight you're going to leave the phaser strip to burn in?
Oh, yeah.
All lit up?
Yeah, I'll probably run it on full bright white so that all the chips get run full. I mean, it should be fine if I just run it on the phaser effect and just let it run on the phaser effect all night. That should do it. Basically, what you want to do is you want to make sure that there's no manufacturer defect in the LEDs that will go out. So letting it run for a good long time before you install it just eliminates the potential for failure due to defect.
And as for getting your head in camera view, Captain Charlemagne says, happens with me when building models. Some of my videos, my head shows up when having to get something on and got to get close to really see what you're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
I need new glasses for close-up because, I mean, I can see close-up no problem without my glasses. It's just that now I can't see close-up if I'm wearing my glasses. Something weird happened after my last eye appointment. So now I'm just adding some metal pins to the ends of these wires that need to be plugged into the breadboard, so they'll actually plug in because the 30 gauge wire will not just plug in. So. I've got the Please Hold music stuck in my head now. I just hope I don't get a copyright hit for whistling that for the little bit I did.
Oh, I'm sure you're fine.
So these pins will come off after.
And Devin Smith says, "You're welcome."
I was the first one that did it. So it's my own fault. I just watched Green's latest Hermitcraft episode today while getting some work done, so it was fresh in my head. The other thing I was watching today while getting work done was Survivor. I need some different pins. So I save any of the ends of resistors or LEDs I cut off. I save them so I can use them for this purpose.
What are you doing to strip those wires so that you just melting it off, or
30 gauge?
Yeah. Or are you just using like a fingernail?
Yeah, I'm just going like that.
Okay.
Thumbnail on my finger isn't enough to take it off for this. There's not much, like it doesn't take much. There we go. This is not hard work. It's just time consuming and fiddly. It's like,
oh, go ahead.
I encourage anybody who's worried about wiring up their own stuff to just try it, because it's not exactly rocket surgery.
Captain Charlemagne says, at least you don't have classical music like Bach stuck in your head, Andrew.
Yeah, well, the problem is if I think about that, I will get full orchestral arrangements going through my head. Because that's the way I hear music in my head. I hear it fully orchestrated. So currently, I've got the actual a replay of the recording of the Please Hold music going through my head, which is why it's so easy for it to come out like a hum or a whistle or something. So yeah, so I don't know if you can see it on here. I can bring it a little bit closer to the camera here. So nothing stripped off the end there. Just going to grab it, thumb, finger, pull.
Nice.
And it's not in focus, so you can't see, but the very end is stripped off.
You can see the color difference.
And I don't need much stripped off for this, what I'm doing. And actually, when I'm connecting it to the LEDs, the less I have stripped off there, the better. And then the coating kind of recedes when I solder it, because the heat shrinks it, so it retracts.
Right.
So you end up with a little bit more exposed than you originally planned for.
So is this the first model you've ever used the addressables on?
No. Both Enterprise E's have addressables. The Don Shoko D has addressables. This will just be the first one that's completed, just the way the project schedule has turned out to be.
Right. Okay.
Just because these have to get done. So the other projects are on hold. Please hold. And the music goes again. Okay. So that's the last testing pin on. Now what I'm going to do is so I've got, currently I've got the data out back into the breadboard, where I'm going to plug the data in for these LEDs. And I'm going to plug them into power on the breadboard. But nothing's going to happen when I plug it in, because nothing is set on the... let me just turn my solder off there, my solder station off for a little bit. Nothing is set on the programming, so I'm going to run back to the programming here. And we're going to set a new LED grouping. I'm going to grab my keyboard back again. And we're going to call this group Test Saucer Deflector. And the phaser was 1 to 127, so this is going to be 128 to 131 if my math works. 28, 29, 30, 31. Yeah. So it's going to be 128 to 131. And we're going to go back to scenes. And I'm going to add a new scene. Do I need to add a new scene? Yeah. There we go. We're going to call this nav def saucer. And we're going to add an LED effect. Test saucer deflector. We're just going to use what are we going to use? Deflector blue. And we're going to save that. Nope, that's yeah, and it's working.
Okay, you got to show us.
I will.
Thank you.
Showing you the wrong screen is just a service I provide. There we go. So
Nice.
We've got the phasers running, and we've got the blue on that. And of course, I can go in and I can tweak the coloring on that. I can tweak the brightness on it. I don't care about all that right now. I just care about it working and being able to be installed. There we go. All right.
Devin Smith says, I managed to use addressable LEDs with the Galileo, but I learned how to code myself, only the basic stuff.
Yeah. Which I would do if I had time to learn, but I've got all these ships I have to build. I don't have time to learn how to code the lighting for the ships I'm building. That's why you develop a network of people who have specialties in different areas. Like Danny from Netherlands has done my Arduino programming for me, and I've got the inner light system for these bigger projects.
We have someone new here to the chat, Necronaut Drummer. He says, hi, Andrew. Thank you for sharing your amazing attention to detail and your amazing skill at building, coding, and painting.
So, no skill with coding, but thank you on everything else. Literally, this is a a graphic user interface with all the tools I need to be able to do this stuff. So this is thanks to the work of Andy at Inner Lighting that we have this and are able to put all the effects together as we want and change them on the fly as we want. So yeah, but thank you. I say that building models is my way of venting my perfectionist tendencies in a way that does not annoy other people. So, all right. What's next?
Okay, we're still on the setup screen.
We're still on the setup screen. Yeah, I'm just trying to think what's next for lighting. Probably window lighting. And I'm going to need to bring the saucer back so we can decide what size strips we're going to want for that.
Necronaut Drummer asks, how do you break into customers regarding new products and tools for their builds, which might increase the quoted cost of a build.
Here, let me throw that up. Oh, you already got that. So how do you break it to customers regarding new products and tools for their builds, which might increase the quoted cost for a build? Well, when I am talking to a client, and I will give them a quote on the build. And it is my responsibility when quoting them on the build to get the quote right. So that means that if I don't get the quote right, whose fault is it? It is my fault. And so I will not go back to a client and say, I'm sorry, what I quoted you is not enough to do the build. You're going to have to give me more. I won't do that. Now, what I did do with one of my Enterprise D clients, I think that so how long is this? 2, 4, 6. So 6 or 7. One on each of here on the bottom will be more than enough. I don't need one on the center because it's just the navigational deflector on the bottom there. And that's going to have its own lighting. So what I did with one of the clients for the Enterprise D is they had the Don Shoko D in progress. But when they originally talked to me, they wanted as large the Enterprise D as possible. And this kit came around, which is quite a bit larger. So the 650, it's quite a bit larger than 1,000 scale. And so I talked to them and I said, you wanted the biggest you could get. We are in production on the 1,000 scale, but there's this new kit that's just available now. We would have to move on getting it pretty quickly. But if you want to upgrade, I will upgrade you. And I will, so I kept the same build price, and I just required the extra, the difference in price of the kit for them. So
Steve Martin says, do you pay for your coding help?
Do I pay for my coding help? So I buy the inner light system, which allows me to program this stuff myself. When it comes to the Arduino programming, Danny and I have an arrangement for that. So a little bit of bartering on that. So yeah, that's taken care of.
Necrodrama says, cool, thank you.
No problem. All right, I think I want strips of LEDs about 6 or 7 long. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This one's 7. This one happens to be 7, but one of them is a dud on there because I had to cut it off. So I've got some strips in here. Well, I've got a strip in there. I've got one here, and we will put together the 4. Is it 4 or 6? 6. 6 strips of 6 that we're going to need. 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I won't have enough here because I'll have to sacrifice one to. Actually, I'll have to sacrifice 2 of them. Where are my little scissors? Where do my little scissors go? Little scissors. Here they are. I'm pretty sure it's this side up. I'm going to have to quickly verify that. But I think I numbered it on the upside. Can you guys see what I'm doing on the little cam?
Yes, we can.
And yes, that is the correct alignment. So I'm going to take my Sharpie and write top. Just so I have no more confusion on that point. I should also mark approximately where those LEDs need to go. I have to avoid where this thing's going to be mounted. There we go. I'll transfer those marks to the underside, but I'm going to move the saucer part out of the way.
Steve Martin says, yeah, the coding was the most challenging part of using Arduino addressable LEDs.
Yeah, certainly not my wheelhouse. That's why I've got people who know about that stuff. I'm not a doctor. I don't know those things.
Are you an escalator?
No, I am not an escalator. I'm not a doctor nor an escalator. He's not dead, Jim.
We were talking about that the other night on the HTM stream. So sorry if you guys missed that.
That was last night.
Yes.
Was it last night or was it Jordan's stream?
It
was Jordan's stream.
I think it was Jordan's stream.
Jordan at Aligning the Stars. If you have not checked out his channel, check it out. If you need a link to find his channel, you can find that on my channel's homepage. Just scroll down and you'll see that. All right. So I'm going to go with 6 LEDs, which means the output on this one I'm going to be able to use. I'll just keep the data wire attached. Now, I am certainly going to keep the backing. I'll use the sticky backing to stick them down. I won't rely on that, but I will add a little bit of the blue backing on the ends just to insulate them from the metal that they're going on.
Devin Smith says, I'm in my last quarter/semester of engineering in college, so I've become very good at learning some of these things.
Yeah.
And Steve Martin says, I was able to use them for my warp engines on my Enterprise E.
Yeah. The is that a 1400 scale? Oh, need to turn this back on. So is that a 1400 scale on Prize E? I'm assuming it is because that's the only commercially available kit, I believe.
There's a 2500 as well.
Oh, okay. Right. I forget about those ones because I'm not really interested.
But much more difficult to light.
Yes.
Yeah, that's one of those kits they need to come out with a, larger version, like a 1/1000 commercially.
Yes. For sure, 100%.
Because it'd be nice to be able to do a whole fleet in 1/1000.
Both the Enterprise E and the Enterprise D in 1000 scale.
Yes. Is the C? No, C's not in 1/1000 either. I don't think. I think it's 1/1400.
Yeah.
And Steve Martin here is confirming. Yep, 1400.
So, what size? So, Steve, what size of LEDs did you use on your wart nacelles on the Enterprise E? What size of adjustable LED strip did you use? This factory these factory soldered wires don't want to desolder for me. All right. He says I or L or 1.
Well, we know it's not a 1 if you look at the 1400.
Got it.
Maybe he's checking. And Todd says, see, Andrew does like the Omni thingy.
I do like the Omni thingamajiggies. They're a little more practical to use than what I was using before. And they stick to the steel part of my armature.
Which is a bonus.
Yep. Well, that in and of itself made doing some of that wiring so much easier, just from a quality of life standpoint.
And for those of you not in the know, that's Omni Fixo. That's the soldering stand he has there.
The only thing I've noticed is that when you've got all of these out of the box, the lid doesn't clip on as well because it doesn't have the magnets of these keeping it down.
Okay.
But I'm currently doing stuff where I end up using all of them. So solder, 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 solder. Where is it?
It's over there. Under your keyboard?
Yes. It was under my keyboard the whole time.
Todd's asking, doesn't the metal base have little rubber feet if you're not using the box?
Does it?
That's a very good question. I'm not at my bench, so I can't look at mine.
Yes, it does.
Here we go. Todd for the win.
And then, he was smart or something.
Yes. Then he says, and there should be a slot in the bod to hold the plate vertically if you need that for positioning.
Is there? Ah, found it.
Nice.
The more you know.
Yeah, and Todd says, yeah, you have a Nuru version. He didn't get the box. Steve Martin is saying each engine 6 to 7 inches long, just able to fit them in. He's talking about his LEDs and his warp cells.
So they may be the same size as I'm using currently. Okay, so I've got, if you build another one, I've got something for you. I don't know if I have any here at the moment to show you, but
And Todd says there should be a slot for lengthwise as well.
aha! Should be a slot for lengthwise as well. Okay. This is what you want for those nacelles. Next time you build one.
That is super small.
So here's the size difference.
Wow.
So these are 0505s. These are 0202s. And the only place I've been able to get these is AliExpress. And they're not the cheapest things in the world, but for the phaser strips on those 1400 scale ships, and for the chiller grills on especially on the Enterprise E, where there is like zero space inside those nacelles to work, those things are a huge lifesaver. And because they are so small and so densely packed, that essentially takes care of your hotspots. You don't get, if you keep those on the bottom, you need to do virtually no diffusion in order to get rid of those hotspots. They're that good.
Oh, unfortunately, Steven must got hit by a plasma weapon or something, because he says now he says I goo.
Oh,
he turned to goo. So,
oh no,
that's terrible.
I goo, you goo, we all goo for ice goo. Something like that.
Something like that. Steve Martin says, "Oh wow, great tip."
Yeah, they're wonderful LEDs to use for that. Because you probably had to really fight to get those 0505 LEDs to fit properly into the Enterprise E and not have any hotspots. So the 0202s certainly make a huge difference when you're trying to do that. Tools on the cable for my solder iron cause me problems all the time.
I have that same problem, but for me, it's for my Sonic Saber cord.
Yeah.
And it was sanding sticks over it and stuff all the time.
Let me see if... Okay, I do. Oh, they're on sale right now. They are on sale right now.
There we go. Maybe it's time to buy some more.
So I just put in the chat the link for the 0202 SMDs. Sorry, the 0202 LED strips.
Steve Martin says, I can't type when I'm not at work.
I for a moment there, I thought I lost the LED strip. It was still on the OmniFixo. I managed to do the impossible this week, or at least the impossible for me.
What's that?
I got a video out less than a week after the previous video.
I saw that. Well, you're really starting to fly here now with assembly coming together.
Well, one, I need to.
Yes.
But two, like the assembly is going fairly smoothly now that all of that R&D on the armature and all that stuff is out of the way. That stuff was just a huge time sink for me. So it's nice to have that taken care of, but I certainly am feeling the pressure of Wonderfest coming faster than I would like it to. I think what I might try to do for next year is book a table for next year, but try to see if all goes well this year with hosting the model at the inner lighting booth, and there's enough interest and stuff like that. Then what I might do is book a table for the B to display the B, but like request it to be beside the inner lighting booth so that we can have I can have my own table for the channel, but it's also showing off the inner lighting system.
If that's the case, I would almost recommend, especially watching the problems Todd's been having getting a hold of the people from Wonderfest, would be talk to them this year while you're there.
I would book it there because I will have a dealer pass. I think I could book it there for next year because they allow the exhibitors to book ahead for next year before they open it up for anybody else. So I will at least talk to them about it.
Right. Yeah. So that we can get your position, like you said, beside inner lighting. Is there that, or see if they'll host your B?
Yeah, well, it'd be nice to have my own like backdrop and stuff like that.
Oh, for sure.
I mean, it all depends on the interest on the D and stuff like that.
Well, I believe you'd have a lot of interest after, seeing all this hard work.
This year, for sure, I want to be free of a table because I want to enjoy the show a little bit more.
And if you are bringing like in the previous year and stuff, if you're bringing another person with you, you can always have at least one of you at the booth.
Yeah. Well, we did that because there was just a few times where I had to leave, whether it was a washroom break or I had to grab something or food. Then my production assistant guy was there, but the thing is in that particular case, I was the product. So
Steve Martin says, thanks for the link, Andrew. Makes me want to take another crack at the E, this time without the paper decals, the wallpaper decals.
Yeah, so two routes for that. Either you can get the paint masks from Gary over at Mass Design. Now, they are very fiddly to use, which is just by the nature of the beast because they have to be so small. Or you can do what I'm kind of preferring to do, and that's hand mask it with blue painter's tape, like 3M blue painter's tape.
Yeah, if you watch back a number of streams, you'll see Andrew doing that, and it's incredible work.
Well, you can see the whole process of that in the previous Enterprise E build series.
Very true.
Because well, let's see here. Let me just grab a picture, or do I still have a picture? Yes, I still have a picture here. So this is how it turned out.
Amazing.
And that was all hand masked. Little tiny bits of blue painter's tape.
Well, I love the work you do on that ship. That's just so amazing.
Now that one was not with the small LEDs in the engines, but the two that I've got on the bench in paint, in for painting right now, both have the 0202 LED strips, which just made life so much better.
Yeah, well, those wallpaper decals do make the job easier. The quality of the look can be variable.
Yeah, I'm not a fan. I mean, they work well for a lot of people, but it's kind of personal preference, really.
Yeah. Well, and your attention to detail and your, how you give your clients the best of your abilities, doing that, which is the way to go. Whereas for someone just doing it at home, they're not really looking at taking it to a show or like that. It's nothing wrong with doing the wallpaper decals.
It all depends on what you want, like what the goal of your end product is, right?
Yeah.
For me, like one of my goals is to push myself to see how much better I can do each time, or what kind of new techniques I can figure out, or whatever. Like the solar res glass was a huge one for this project.
Yes.
Which is a technique I will certainly use on more things in the future.
And for those of you who missed it, that's when Andrew took some UV resin and laid it on a nice flat surface, and then set it off with the UV light, and it ended up being a nice thin sheet of UV resin.
And it was still pliable enough that I could make the complex curved windows for the observation lounge using it, because it has to curve in multiple directions. So getting it to curve properly and remain optically clear was the trick, and the solar res glass was the ticket for that. I ended up using a modified version of that technique to do the diffusion on the impulse engine for this project. So for anybody who missed the impulse engine, this is what the impulse engine looks like.
Yeah, that looks great.
It lights up and everything, and you can't see any of the hot spots on it. So I ended up taking white resin, so 2-part resin that goes white when it cures, and I needed it thicker than what the solar res glass turns out to be. So instead of sandwiching it between the two pieces of microscope slides, I carefully poured it just on one and let it self-level, and just use the surface tension to allow it to self-level, and that gave it just the right thickness of the white resin to act as a good light diffuser for the impulse engine. And it turned out really well.
Nice. Devin Smith says, I always try to do new things with each build. It's always nice to do something very easy once in a while, though.
Yeah. Although, for me, I'm the type of person that would start an easy project and then end up taking it way farther than I ever intended to. I lost that pin somewhere.
Oh.
I'll find it later. Oh, it stuck to one of the OmniFixo magnets.
We have a new commenter here, Thunder. He says the diffusion on that impulse engine is so smooth on camera. It must look even better in person.
Well, welcome to the stream. And yeah, it looks really good on camera. It looks even better in person. Which I'm it's going to be nice that people will get a chance to see it in person if they come to Wonderfest. And if I end up doing a VIP delivery, Ken, I might just have to stop over, like stop on the way through.
Oh, right on.
I'm not sure if I'll need to do a VIP delivery or if he'll come and get it. But we'll see. Because I'd be going right through. I'd rather, if I was doing that, I'd rather do the longer drive and stay in country.
Right.
Than go the US route. Takes 2 days just to get out of Ontario.
Yeah, I've done that. I've done that route in the past too when I was younger.
Then it looks like, well, I didn't do that right. That's not what I meant to do. It looks like the Belgium client, when it's ready for him to take delivery of, he might come over to pick it up and take it back with him.
That's nice and handy.
Yep. All right, one set of window lights wired up. And it's not hard work, it's just time consuming and finicky.
And just to remind you, Andrew, you're now at the 2 hour and 10-minute mark.
Yeah, I saw that.
Okay.
It's fine. I've just got a super busy day tomorrow. Okay, gonna plug the input for the data into the output on the from the previous LED strip on the breadboard. And we'll plug in the power, and then we'll move over to the user interface and set these up. That shouldn't be happening. That was weird. Okay. A little bit of a fluke there. It's fine. Okay, so my handy dandy notepad, my handy dandy notebook. So we're looking at 6 LEDs. So we're going to go from LED 132 to 137. Sorry, it's late. It took me a moment for my brain to math. We're going to switch over to that. And we're going to create a new LED group. We're going to call this Test Saucer Windows. And this is going to be 132 to 137. We're going to make sure I've got enough headroom on the LED numbers. Yeah. And I'm going to add in... Actually, we don't need a new scene. What we're going to do is we're going to take the nav def saucer. We're going to add a new LED effect. We're going to go We're going to choose the test saucer windows. We're going to apply the effect of, what is it? Main white. And we're going to save that. And we're going to test, and we're going to move back to the cameras, and voila.
Nice.
They work. I just have to repeat that 5 more times now. But I'm not going to be doing that tonight because it is past my normal stream time. So I'm going to call the stream there. So thank you, everybody, for spending some time and hanging out with me. Let me just move back to face cam here. A little bit later than normal, but I wanted to get that last little bit of LEDs I was working on done. So thank you, everyone, for joining. Thank you, Dash, for that incredible super chat there. Again, completely unnecessary, but very much appreciated. Thank you, everyone, for joining. If you've enjoyed the live stream, hit the like button. If you're new to my channel and haven't done so yet, you can hit that subscribe button today. That'll make me very happy if you do. But for now, my name is Andrew. Your producer tonight has been Ken. Thank you, and have a great night, everyone.
Good night.